Have you ever encountered a hurdle with launching or growing your business? Listen, there are two things that run a business, the back end and your soft skills.
Telling you right now, if these aren't in place, you'll lose clients and you'll lose money. You don't want that? Well, you're in the right place.
Hey, I'm Dana.
Hey, I'm Sara.
We're your hosts of the Entrepreneur Encounter, and we're going to give you a behind-the-scenes glance into our businesses, give you genuine feedback, tips and tricks, plus occasionally bring on guests that care about supporting you to grow your business organically and nurturing authentic relationships. Are you ready? Attention service-based entrepreneurs, unleash the power of Pinterest with a professionally optimized business account. In case you're new here, my name is Dana, co-host of Entrepreneur Encounter, and I want to be your Pinterest setup specialist. Together, we will tailor your Pinterest presence to your brand and audience, optimize your profile with captivating visuals and descriptions, develop a strategic pinning plan to reach your target audience, and then integrate Pinterest with your other marketing channels so you can repurpose instead of working harder. Then, if you love your Pinterest account setup, I do have ongoing support packages for continued success. So if you've been wanting to unlock Pinterest potential for your wedding planning business, contact me at my website, ddvirtualmanagement.com, and we can get started.
Welcome back to another episode of Entrepreneur Encounter, the show where we share the insights of running the back end of your business along with personal development. We're your hosts, Sara
and Dana.
And today we're diving into effective teamwork with the power of affirmations.
That's right. We're joined by a special guest who will share insights on incorporating affirmations to help get rid of the negative narratives our brains often create. As someone who has an app for that with daily constant reminders of, I can do hard things, I am a strong person, I'm super excited about this episode, and I have been excited while we waited to record it. So let's introduce Denise. She owns an ADHD anxiety business and helps other women with ADHD and anxiety stop the overwhelming chaos driving their business and create a successful, purpose-filled business with a balanced life. Denise, do you want to take a few moments to kind of elaborate on who you serve and what you do?
Absolutely. I am a business coach for mainly women who have ADHD and or anxiety. I love working with these women because we have, I say we because it's me also, we have brilliant brains. We think outside the box, but oh boy, we have negative self-talk a lot of times. Mm-hmm. And we also struggle with staying committed, especially when the negative self-talk comes in. So I just help these women to actually fulfill the visions that they're looking for, the dreams, their big goals, because the world needs us to show up because our dreams are usually around things that help the world be a better place. Mm-hmm. And so I just want to help them to actually fulfill it.
So in regards to negative self-talk in the workplace, how can this affect teams and individuals?
So one of the things about negative self-talk that I see with teams is we usually measure other people based on how we are measuring ourselves. So if you have negative self-talk towards yourself, you're more likely to believe that the other people should also have that same yardstick. Mm. And of course, I do think we're usually harsher on ourselves. But when you start to forgive yourself and have grace for yourself, you start to give that same grace towards other people as well, and see them in a more positive light.
I like that because it's like a reflection, right? The way that you're feeling, for example, if you're having a bad day and you have like an attitude and then you give somebody else an attitude, it's not that you're trying to give them an attitude, but it's just because you're reflecting. Mm-hmm. To me, that's kind of like the same as like a negative self-talk, because in the workplace, let's say in leadership, if you're having a really bad day, I've seen this before too. If you're having a really bad day and you go into work, whoever you're working with, your team, your clients, and then all of a sudden, like, you're really snappy to them, then your team is essentially like, what is going on? So you have to, I guess, one, leave the attitude at the door, or talk to somebody about what's going on before you give that negativity to somebody else. That's how I see it.
Right. I do think what you just said, it's that self-evaluation of understanding where you're at and being vulnerable and honest with yourself.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what affirmations can help you start doing, being vulnerable with yourself about knowing what your hopes and desires are, but also giving yourself, like I said, that grace. And when I say grace, it's kind of that understanding that you aren't perfect and being like, I'm on a journey, though. I am trying to get better. So when I say grace, it's the ability to be okay with not being perfect on your journey and saying it's okay to get up and try again when I've fallen. So when you are checking yourself at the door, the affirmations start to help you to be more vulnerable with yourself so that when you come into the workplace, you can be a little more honest about, yeah, I am honestly having a rough day, so please bear with me. And when you start to be more vulnerable and honest with others, they feel safe enough to start being vulnerable and honest with you too.
Yeah, that's a really good point because, again, you're setting the tone for the day. You know, you're setting the tone for the people that you're around, because if you're just going to walk into work and then just be all negative about everything, then that's going to trickle down to the people that are around you. And then they're going to feel that energy. And then the day is not going to go good for anybody.
No. So I'm also a math major. I almost said former math major, but I majored in that. So that's my degree. So I'm still a very analytical person when it comes to, let's say, affirmations and the ability for it to shift things. And therefore, when I think of affirmations and why you should actually use them, I think about, as a business owner, I want to be able to create more time to do my work from a purely income generation idea. So in a previous life, I worked for a consulting firm where literally your hourly wage was, they charged their clients based off of the hours you worked. And every person had a different charge based on the number of years you've worked and things. So it started to show me how businesses are run and the importance of having your team actually show up in the best light. Because not only does it cost your business more money when your employees are unhappy, it also costs the client more money, which means a more negative experience for your clients. It causes you more anxiety outside of work, which means that in some ways you are going to pay for that anxiety somewhere. It all has a cost.
Yeah.
Right, Dana? It all has a cost. You laugh because it's true.
It's definitely true.
So in my mind, affirmations to set the tone, an open dialogue with your employees around what is going on instead of forcing everyone into a box of, you must be this way. You must be feeling this way. You have to show up perfect every single day. That's going to cost your business more money in the long run.
Yeah.
It's going to cost you employees because they are struggling. You're not helping them. So they're going to burn out and need to go somewhere else. It's going to cost you clients and reputation if your products aren't going as well. Affirmations can really impact your bottom line. And it's an easy way to start generating more income, whether it's a money income or even just a reputation. All of these things end up helping your business in different ways. And affirmations can really impact it. You're investing into the people that you're working with. And it actually just starts with you investing into yourself.
Exactly. I agree with that. Whoever's in your space, if you want them to succeed, then you need to look at you first. Like, where are you at? So like, if you're leading a team, you're leading by example. So you have to not fit everybody into one box. Communicate with your team and make sure that they're in the place that they need to be. And if they're not, then what are you going to do to help them get into that space?
I like having the comparison of it costs not just money, but it costs your time and energy. It costs in so many different ways. But money is like a big driver for a lot of people. So obviously it's at the top of the list. But think about if your negativity or your barking at them is what I call it, then they get defensive. And if they're like me, like if someone barks at me, then I start like slipping into that funnel of, oh my gosh, what did I do wrong? And I'm so focused on not making a mistake that work gets slowed down and I end up probably making more mistakes.
Yeah.
Because I'm so stressed out about not disappointing someone or having someone come and bark at me again. So that's interesting. I like it.
And I think the reason I always bring it back to money is it's so tangible.
Mm-hmm.
It's so easy to see like, oh, if your bottom line is being affected, then therefore now we should invest. It's sometimes hard to put a money value on your mental health, for example. But obviously, as a math major, I need to. That's something I actually would value, this idea of you are not just investing time. Like we can obviously showcase like, Dana, if you were not barked at one day, how much were you able to get done? Versus a day you were barked at, let's now do the same thing. How much can you get done? You would see that difference in time, but time is money. So therefore, they've lost money by barking at you. And that's what, if you are a team leader, understanding that if you are not in the best headspace, you are going to end up spending more money, more time, more energy, actually hurting the company when you're not working on yourself.
Oh, yeah. I have to agree with that. Most definitely. So like, can you give some examples of some of the affirmations that you would recommend, like a leader, to help with the negativity or negative self-talk and to help have effective team?
Yes. Well, one thing, I'm going to really quickly define what I call affirmations. Mm-hmm. Many of us grew up with the idea that affirmations are just positive words, right? Like, I'm good at this. I am this and I'm this. Those are just almost like statements to me. Those are good. But affirmations are helping you to move forward by looking for things you want to be true, but aren't yet true. They're not impossibilities. They're things that you are hoping for. So let's say if you're a team leader, you might be wanting to be a wonderful team leader, a vulnerable team leader, but you know right now you're struggling in that. Mm-hmm. So you would tell yourself, I am a safe space for my employees. Now, the benefit of saying these things, and we've all heard about self-fulfilling prophecy. Our brains are really good at telling us, I'm not good at this. So when you are telling yourself over and over again, I'm not good at this, there are neural pathways in our brain that I always think of like the 1800s or 1700s. When did they go across the country and the wagons? But if you are thinking of neural pathways, like the old-timey trails that the pioneers would go across, those pathways, if you are blazing a new one, it's hard to get through it. So if you have traveled the same one over and over again, all the grass is down, it's easy to see, it's easy to travel. So if you've been telling yourself for years, I'm not good at this, I'm not good at communicating, I'm not good at being a team leader, this is what I'm not good at, then your neural pathway is super etched in because that's what it happens. It makes it super simple for your brain to jump there. When you are starting affirmations, what you're trying to do is create new neural pathways, which means in the beginning, they are difficult to start believing. But that's why you have to keep repeating them. You're making your brain start to make a new pathway. And the more you cross over it, the deeper it's going to go. So it's easier for your brain to start believing it and makes it easier for you to actually accomplish it. That's the science behind it.
I'm all for it.
That makes a lot of sense because I can see it in my brain.
I feel like that works with so many things, not just in the business world. My first thought with that is someone, myself, starting to eat healthier or begin like a consistent, keyword there, consistent workout routine. But those take affirmations like, oh, my legs hurt, so I can't walk today. Or right now it's winter. I'm not going walking outside because it's 30 degrees. So I've already told myself it's not happening. So I'm not going to get creative and think outside the box to find a solution to, I still need to work out to make myself healthier. I've already just said, well, it's not happening.
Correct.
So full circle, what advice do you have for those that are skeptical or struggling with the beginning stages that's harder to do because you are changing a neural pathway? What advice would you have for those that are trying to implement them into the workplace?
So start small. You're not going to get it perfect. And like I said, you're going to have to give yourself a lot of grace.
Yeah.
And if you have never done them, it does feel a little weird. I mean, I was skeptical when I first started. Like I said, math major over here. I believe in science. And when people talk to me about affirmations, I was like, that's really woo-woo. Like, I'm going to manifest this into it happening. And I'm like, oh my, like, I don't know if that's me. But when you start, be kind to yourself, first off. So start with a small one saying, I can create affirmations daily. If that feels too hard, then you go a different route. You can say, I keep working on affirmations. It's all about trying to just help your brain start a narrative to move forward. So whatever it is you're wanting to see, you just start to place little things in your brain to do this. I listened to, her name's Anna Rapp. She's a wonderful business coach, but she's the one who I first heard talk about affirmations like this. And one of the things she also said was you can also do bridging affirmations because sometimes they feel too hard. Like, let's say your affirmation is around being a safe space for your employees, but it's too hard to say, I am a safe space for my employees, because that's just not what I am right now.
Yeah.
I am on my way to being a safe space for my employees.
Ooh.
So kind of this, just changing it just a little bit, but helping you to bridge it if you just can't go there yet.
I like that. You want to be there. So what is the other way? I like that because there are times when you are not necessarily ready. You know, you're not sure how to get there. And it's like, what is that saying with a habit? Like if you start a habit and it takes how many days? 30, 60 days? Like, you know, I want to start drinking water. I need to like up my water intake. And it's that habit. If you start doing it every day and pushing yourself to do it every day, then after so long, it just becomes part of your routine. That's kind of what I see the affirmations being like that in a way.
Yes. And you just don't have to make it as complicated as you think.
Yeah.
I've heard some people like to write them. Personally, I found that cumbersome, so I don't write my affirmations. And everyone's different, right? Like there's no judgment for the writers.
Yeah.
Go for it. If that's how you do it, go for it. I have them on sticky notes sometimes, stuck around places so that I see them visually. I literally wrote with a Sharpie on my mirrors some affirmations because why not? Like it's about exposing yourself over and over again. I have recorded myself doing affirmations for what I need to be hearing at that time so I can listen to them. You can say them out loud. I mean, if it's still too difficult, go to Amazon. You probably could Google this too, but there are really cheap affirmation decks. Like if it's just too difficult for you, start somewhere. You don't have to start big and create your own. Go start where someone else has already started to pave the way so that you can start to get better and create your own, because it can be difficult in the beginning, but it doesn't mean just because it's difficult, you just go, well, I don't want to do it. Well, let's just put it, which is more expensive, not doing affirmations or going and buying an affirmation deck that cost you like $10 or less on Amazon and start doing them. And then therefore, we already talked about it. It costs your company less money if you're doing it.
Yeah.
It'll cost you less in a lot of ways. So if you want to think about it from a cost analysis standpoint, go buy the affirmation deck.
Yeah.
If you need more help, go to someone who specializes in mindset and affirmations and things. You will reap the benefits in the end. You just have to know that it is worth the cost.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
And when you're speaking of the costs of like your employees, and especially when they leave or when you have to hire somebody new, on an average for somebody that's making $20 an hour, you're spending about $50,000 on hiring a new person. So to create a safe space, to be there for your team, to make sure that productivity is on point, you want to make sure that you are there for your team. Because if not, then yes, it's going to cost you the time and the energy and the $50,000 plus a year just to have a new team member.
Yeah. See, Sara, Thank you for saying that, because exactly, it costs so much more money. And then not only does it cost money, but it costs energy. It costs your stress levels. It costs the whole shebang, all of it. It isn't worth it when you could also pay for someone to help you with that mindset so that you are happier.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, honestly, you are a happier person all around. You're able to start to show more grace and love to those around you. So people actually want to be around you more. Like, let's just go around. Like, I mean, it is just, there is really no downside. And it costs a whole lot less. So it seems like a no-brainer.
You think.
But a lot of us don't realize it is a no-brainer. It really is.
Yeah. Are there any like common misconceptions when it comes to the people that you've encountered with affirmations? Like, have you worked with teams or any of the people that you coach? You know, what are the misconceptions about the affirmations?
I think the first thing that usually occurs is they're not sure they're really going to work. To be honest, that's the first thing. Because like I said, it is this like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
This seems really weird.
That's where I was thinking. It's probably just feels awkward. Even like if I don't say mine out loud, I think them because I feel silly talking to myself.
Yep.
So I just think it to myself.
Yeah.
Dana, totally normal. Do you know my kids sometimes come into my room and go, Mom, is that you on your recording? I'm like, yes, that is. I am telling myself how wonderful I am. And so like, I'm normalizing it to them like, oh, it's okay for Mom to say she is a wonderful mother, even though sometimes I'm like, I do not feel this. Like, it's that normalizing. It's okay to want to be better.
The common misconceptions, you know, when people feel like it is awkward, you know, I talk to myself. So I'm okay with doing that like out loud because no one's home. So I'll talk to myself.
Yes.
But no, I get that because sometimes when you're starting something new that seems kind of silly, then that's when people are like, I don't know if I want to do this. And then if there's something else aside from affirmations that will help you, then if the affirmations don't help, then maybe figure something else that will help you get into that positive space.
Yes. And what I was also going to say about a misconception, affirmations, the other side of it that's really wonderful is it helps you to lean more into believing that you actually have good thoughts, good ideas, and you can trust yourself more.
Mm-hmm.
So I started exploring affirmations after I left the workplace because I actually had this amazing support team where I worked previously. I worked for a bank for 10 years. My team was amazing and stellar at giving me affirmations. So I just leaned into them all the time. I got my fill of, oh, I'm so amazing from my teammates saying, you're so amazing. So I didn't need to lean into my own beliefs. So I just leaned into them all the time. Like, can you give me affirmations? Like basically fill me up right now. But when I left to start my own business, I did not realize how much I was leaning into everyone else's belief system because I just didn't have my own. And so I had to start affirmations to actually start really believing in my own greatness, in my own value, in my own worth. And as an entrepreneur, especially, I needed to learn to listen to that inner voice inside of me, that inner dialogue going on, and trust it.
Yeah.
Instead of constantly going for outside validation. So as a team leader, yes, it's good to be able to hear affirmations from those around you, but you really also need to be able to lean into your own intuition, trust yourself, know that what you're really good at, what you need to lean into others for. And that way you can build a solid team around you.
Yeah, for sure.
With that thought process, before we wrap up, could you share a practical affirmation or exercise that our listeners could use today that would help them lean into their own intuition and to trust themselves?
So one affirmation as you are starting a practice, I would definitely use, I am worth investing into. Just that statement alone starts to move the needle towards this is worth it. I believe I should invest, whether it's in mental health stuff, whether it's in leadership, whether it's in other trainings. But shifting into I am worth it will definitely help you to start moving in the right direction.
I love that. So for our listeners, where can they connect with you?
So I do have a Facebook group. It's for ADHD and anxiety business owners. The big thing that I talk about in there is being outside the box because we are very outside the box and most of us don't fit inside the box. So kind of breaking and leading our businesses in our own direction without having to fit ourselves into a specific program that must be done this way. And I will be doing challenges regularly in that group over different topics. I think my next one in January will be on goal setting, for example, and how to create good goals because we create a lot of wishy-washy goals. So helping business owners actually create goals that are obtainable so that you keep pushing yourself instead of creating goals that just you can't actually measure yourself anyway. You can't do it. So you can definitely join that Facebook group if that's of interest to you. But we'd love to have you. You can also just follow me on Facebook. I mean, I'm a very open book. Friend request me. I love friends. You can also go to my website, the ADHDbusinessowner.com.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much. We'll have all that information in our show notes so when our listeners can find the information. Well, thank you, Denise, for being on our show today. It was really insightful. I really loved our conversation.
Well, thank you so much. I enjoyed it too. Have a great affirmation day, right?
Yes.
Yes, exactly. As always, all the information is in the show notes. Until next time.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in to another episode. Remember, soft skills aren't just some fluffy buzzwords that get thrown around in the corporate world. They're the key to unlocking your full potential as a professional and a human being. Don't be afraid to invest in yourself and seek out opportunities to improve your soft skills. Sara and I have a variety of workshops, online courses, and complimentary clarity calls for you to practice in real time with us. Links are always in the show notes. And be sure to join us next time for more insights, tips, and tricks to help you succeed in your entrepreneur encounter.